Stop.
Of all the current directors who continue to fail to live up to their potential, Zack Snyder may be at the top of my list. 300 was a fantastic adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel. And say what you want about the ending, but The Watchmen was a good adaptation as well. But ever since Sucker Punch, Snyder has lost his stuff. Multiple failures with the DCEU and a single suck-ass zombie movie later leaves us wondering, could Zack Snyder ever gain some storytelling skill back? Well, I'm here to tell you that Rebel Moon proves it's gone for good.
It's over for you guys!
Rebel Moon Part 1 opens up like every sci-fi movie does. A big gaping vagina gashes through space, and a spaceship in the shape of a penis flies through it. A metaphor for what Zack Snyder is about to do to his audience once again. Okay, to be completely and totally honest, the first 30 minutes of Rebel Moon will have you hooked. You'll sit there and wonder why the critics are bitching so much about Rebel Moon. The visuals are impressive. Sure, there are cliches rampant throughout the opening act, but they're forgivable. Of course, the Imperial Army is either space fascists or space commies. You could take your pick and you'll be right. The first act is nested somewhere between Rogue One and Inglourious Basterds opening scenes. What was missing in Rebel Moon was the tension from both. But hey, it looks good. There is a random moment of exposition between a water maiden and a droid that suspiciously sounds like Anthony Hopkins. Probably because it is Anthony Hopkins. I'm guessing he forgot to request to be uncredited. He tells the water maiden about his past life as a droid. She didn't ask. He doesn't care. She's going to have to listen to him. So are we. I mean, it is the Anthony Hopkins robot after all.
Our kindness, our very joy, died with that young girl.
And yes, Zack is Snydering all over the place here in the first scenes. Random slow motion shots do occur. Why wouldn't they? What were you expecting? Seeds dropping out of the hand of our protagonist Kora is enough for the shot to be Snydered. High speed shots to Zack Snyder is what explosions are to Michael Bay. Give me a break. You knew what you were getting into when you press play. So all in all, it's pretty familiar territory for everyone, but there's enough to continue to drive you forward in the story. We follow a girl who's plowing. Her name is Kora, and she's played by Sofia Boutella.
I'm Sophia. Hi.
The crops she's tending to belong to a village independent of the Empire. You assume that she is a native of this village. Come to find out, she's only been there 2 seasons, has a shady past, and is on the run from the Imperials. Of course, she was found alive in a wrecked ship and was taken in with open arms. Not exactly original stuff, but not exactly boring either. There's enough intrigue with her character to keep you going. Admiral Noble and his Imperial Droog show up to the village, of course. They subjugate the village for the resources, of course. He beats the village chieftain to death to show that he is, indeed, the villain of the piece. He takes off, but not before leaving a small platoon of unsavory troopers, save for one, behind. Conveniently, the night Kora decides to run away is the same night the platoon decides it's going to have unsolicited group analysis with the Water Maiden. Kora hears her cries as she's about to depart, so Kora has a choice: run or stay and fight.
What do I do? Fight!
She chooses to fight, and the troopers all die in slow motion. Again, what did you expect? And this is when Rebel Moon Part 1 begins to die in slow motion as well. See, Kora might look like a tiny girl, but really she is a tiny girl with extraordinary strength. She takes out most of the platoon single-handedly. They come at her one by one, of course, but since they are in slow motion, she can virtually see their every little move before they even make it. It should be noted that all these men are also armed with guns, and Kora wields a small hatchet. Snyder also wants your disbelief completely canceled at the fact that Kora uses no trickery, no attempts to hide the hatchet behind her back, or slink her way into the barn where the evil act is taking place, or even attempt to seduce the men before hacking away at them. No, she stands at the doorway, hatchet in hand, ready to take on all that dare. They die, so does the story. My math might be a little fuzzy on this, but 6 men with guns versus 1 woman with a hatchet in a straight up fight equals a short film with a tragic ending. Here, it doesn't seem to be a problem for Kora, though. You might be asking, she's like genetically enhanced or something, right? Or comes in the barn dressed as RoboCop, something like that? No, all she has is just a pair of ovaries, and they're thirsty for blood. Later on in a bar scene, this offense takes place again, but even worse. At one point, she takes down a perverted alien barehanded, moments after her male counterpart punched him in the face so hard the guy barely even flinched. And this is how the rest of Rebel Moon goes. In Seven Samurai fashion, Kora and her fellow villager, Gunner, must planet hop to recruit warriors that will help defend the village from the Imperial's imminent retaliation. Every character they meet needs no convincing to join their just and righteous cause. There's always some sort of fight to prove how capable they are, some sort of small exposition dump in order to attempt to give them some kind of dynamic. But this is all a rush job. Character development gets Snydered for the stuff that really counts. Sick ass action sequences, bro. In between world hopping to build the A team of B teams, Kora gives her usual exposition dump as well. This is where you're happy Netflix added the 1.5 times speed button. You begin to realize Rebel Moon is this kind of boring but good-looking RPG video game more than a movie. It's interested in building the team's stats and making them look good while posing during action sequences than telling a proper fucking story. It has easily skippable dialogue because those who made it think that you're only here for the cutscenes. 1 minute you're watching a guy ride a giant raven straight out of some fantasy metal band's cover art, which is pretty awesome. And in the next scene you're watching a South Korean witch lightsaber duel with an infernal spider, which also looks awesome. And both pose for the camera at some point. Basically, you're getting Snydered once again. Awesome visuals and sequences with no substance to them whatsoever. And this continues on and on and on. Charlie Hunnam's Han Solo character of Kai seems to only exist to usher our characters to new planets and usher the audience into new depths of boredom. All of them on Team Kora are two-dimensional characters trying to survive in a one-dimensional story. Rebel Moon is science fiction banality mixed with incoherent babbling about characters we could care less about. The narrative is surface-level crap. The Snyder motto being, if it looks cool, it must be cool. It does look cool, but it's made of pure shit. It's the equivalent of eating a bunch of glitter to see what comes out at the other end. The CGI is impressive for the most part, but there are a few moments where it shows itself, demanding you notice it like some kind of attention whore, particularly in the scene where we tame the giant crow to ride on. It looks more like Christopher Reeves' Superman flying in the sky than something you should see in a modern day movie, especially one that cost Netflix $166 million to make. And once again, before the movie is released, Zack Snyder is saying that there's a director's cut floating out there in the deep freeze of space, quoted as saying that the director's cut is almost a completely different movie. While watching this bore of a film, if you look closely and listen closely, you can see and hear the Release the Snyder Cut hashtag thaw.
Oh, come on!
Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1 ends with the threat that there is a Part 2 coming in April. A threat, much like its main characters, you shouldn't take seriously. Why should you? It's obvious Snyder doesn't. If you enjoyed this video, you go ahead and smash that like button. While you're done doing that, hit the subscribe button. And then, after that, share this with your friends, family, people you hate. Maybe you don't like my content and just want to waste somebody's time. Do it. Share it. Thank you. It is much appreciated. I'm out of here.
Listen to the sound of my hands massaging through this bowl of wet noodles. Let's be more visceral, shall we? That is me punching noodles. One more time with the punch. Oh, you feel that mush?